Hello, guys. Welcome to the first official Foga Podcast. I say official because Erik and I, we had a sort of a podcast when we had a debate about ghosts. And I don't know if that's considered a podcast, but this one's the official one. The first official one. And why is it happening now? It's because, it's quarantine. All the homies are all over the place, so you gotta entertain yourself somehow. And the way I'm entertaining myself is just talking to the camera and talking about random stuff. But I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this structured. I'm gonna talk about stuff that's relevant, hopefully relevant to you guys. If not, I'm sorry. But I want to talk about sports. The first topic that we're gonna have on the Foga Podcast is about sports. If you're bored in quarantine, I think sports is the thing for you. I don't know why sports is entertaining. Like, you're not actually playing in the team. You're just rooting for the team, and somehow, you associate yourself with the team. And I just think I think sports just hits a very primordial aspect of the human brain. Otherwise, you know, playing sports doesn't really make sense in terms of having entertainment value for the human being. But enough of that. Let's not dive too deep into the psychology of sports. Let's talk about the NBA. The NBA is back. They're playing in a bubble. I don't know. I heard the bubble's in Disney or something like that. I don't know, but they're back, and they're battling out. They're having a battle royale in the bubble. So right now, teams are playing off for their playoff seeds. Teams are getting desperate, trying to make it into the cut. Just one team that I'm got my eyes out for. It's the Phoenix Suns. I usually root for the underdogs, no matter what sport, and the Phoenix Suns I think are the underdogs. Ever since the bubble has started, the NBA bubble has started, the Phoenix Suns haven't lost a single game. That just shows heart, a little desperation, but mainly heart. And I always thought that, the Phoenix Suns always had that potential, and I just think they're just wasting their star power, just not by not making it into the playoffs. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, they're solid players, and it's good to see them finally or they haven't made it yet, but it's good to see them having a good chance to make it to the playoffs. Cross your fingers. Hopefully they make it. So yeah, that's what I'm currently excited for is the Phoenix Suns. And a big shout out to Jeremy Lin. He's not in the NBA anymore. No one picked him up. I don't know why. Didn't even pick him up as a veteran, which doesn't make any sense. I think Jeremy Lin is a solid player, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did for the NBA and what he did for the basketball culture around the world. Not only was he respectful, not only did he play with passion, I think he was a pretty good player, honestly. He did well in the Hornets, I would say. I think that was his best years. I think other people would say otherwise, but I think his best years was in the Hornets. And I don't think he gets enough credit. I do admit he didn't do much on the Raptors when he got his ring, but you can't deny that he is a solid player, a good player. He couldn't have been a better role model for Asians going to sports. So hopefully he's doing well in the CBA. Let's talk about the UFC. The UFC. I when Conor McGregor was fighting, when he was not in retirement mode, I watched a lot of UFC. But now, there's not a big superstar. It's almost as if I was watching WWE, but the fighting was real. That's how I envisioned it. But I did watch a bit of the Masvidal versus Usman fight. I was rooting for Masvidal because in my opinion, I think he's also a very entertaining fighter, and I can almost compare his personality to Conor McGregor in terms of being, rambunctious, very I don't give a crap personality. But sadly he lost, so I haven't been watching UFC a lot. But moving on, I want to talk about football. Football. Still the pigskin around football. So in the past, I was never really a big football fan, and I grew up thinking that football was just a bronze over brain sport. And growing up, I also valued like sports that use more of their brains and skills. But that perspective was incorrect for football because as I've been getting more and more into football, I have learned that isn't just bronze; it's also a lot of brains. As a wide receiver, you need to figure out which routes to run. As a quarterback, you need to figure out which options to pick. Even on the defensive side, you have to like kind of read plays, see if it's a play action, stuff like that. Figure out your coverages. There's a lot of technical aspects to it. And the things I do find interesting about football is the teams. They're big teams. Like there's a lot of players. Usually in basketball, just like five people on the court per team. But on NFL, there's a lot, and because there's a lot of things going on. And football also incorporates a lot of physiques incorporates a lot of physiques from different players. So you got the linemen who are huge, you got the wide receivers who are more slim, more fast. You got the running backs who are very stocky, can run people over, and you just see a plethora of just strong dudes just fighting each other. It's almost as if like they're just like two armies fighting each other, and that's pretty entertaining. Also, it's pretty interesting seeing people or athletes my size in the NFL. Because growing up, I played basketball and I didn't reach a good enough height, to really pursue a professional career. Even if I reached that height, I'm not even sure if I'd have a professional career. Like even if I was 6'2" or 6'3", I don't even know. I probably wouldn't have a professional career because there's a lot of skill involved. But in the NFL, you can see some people like that are not 6 feet, and there's quite a lot of them. There's a lot of wide receivers who are not 6 feet. There's like running backs. There's even one running back, Darren Sproles. He's like 5'6". I don't think he plays anymore, but he's 5'6", dude. I would say that's below average height in America, and he's running people over in the NFL, and that's entertaining because you don't see that in any other sport where height is a big factor. Also, I've been getting into a lot of I don't know how to describe these videos, but so on the YouTube, there's a lot of NFL teams that have their own YouTube channel, and they kind of interview and then just document the day-to-day routine of NFL players during training camp. And there's one player who caught my eye. His name's Taylor Rapp. He's half Asian, but if he identifies as Asian, so that's Asian in my books. I keep the gates open. If you identify as Asian, go ahead. More power to you. But that really sparked like a thought in my head. There's just like zero Asians in NFL, and I think Asians have big potential as any other race to play in the NFL. And here's my first evidence. Sumo wrestlers in Japan. Think about it. Sumo wrestlers are the perfect role. They fit the perfect role as an NFL lineman. I'm assuming the sport of sumo wrestling, but I think it's a sport that's based on like trying to keep yourself in the ring. There's a small ring. You keep yourself in the ring and you try to push your opponent out using, stiff arms, arm chops, and body leverage. And that's basically just a lineman drill. And sumo wrestlers are not small. They're huge. They're thick boys. And they can definitely play in the NFL. But I'm pretty sure the reason that not a lot of Asians play football is because of the culture. I think Asians are more conservative in terms of risking their bodies. I think there's a stereotype that football is very very physical, and you're very prone to injury if you play the sport, and I think that's warranted. Football. Have you seen some highlight reels of some hits in football? They're pretty nasty. There's some concussions going on in the sport. But I think Asians should play football. You know, they have potential. Would be nice seeing like a Asian running over people. That's gonna be pretty entertaining. Or having a Japanese sumo wrestler transition into a defensive lineman or offensive lineman. That's gonna be pretty interesting. So hopefully we can see more Asians going to football. I don't know. Last year I rooted for the Cleveland Browns because I thought they assembled the A team. They had the Avengers. They had Baker Mayfield. He was supposed to be very good. They got two-star wide receivers. They got, I don't know his first name, but they got the running back. His last name is Chubb. He's a beast. Yeah, they had a solid team. I don't know what happened. I think a lot of people were blaming it on the quarterback, but again, I don't really know much about football. I'm still, learning it. Maybe I'll root for the Browns again. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's all I have for sports. If you're not a big sports person, I'm sorry. I'll talk about a more entertaining topic next time. Yeah, thank you for watching.